Leo Weekly Tarot, July 22nd to 28th, 2026. Opening. Leo, your season begins this week, and your card could hardly be more personal. Your card is strength. Not borrowed confidence. Not applause. Not the kind of power that needs everyone in the room to recognize it. Strength. The kind that remains when nobody is watching. From July 22nd through July 28th, the Sun enters your sign and begins a new solar chapter for you. Mercury stations direct in Cancer after weeks of retrograde motion. Saturn turns retrograde in Aries. And on Monday, the Sun becomes part of an unusually intense combination of energies involving Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. So yes, the spotlight is returning to Leo. But strength asks an important question before you step into it. Who are you when you no longer need the spotlight to prove that you matter? This week can bring visibility, momentum, attraction, creativity, and renewed confidence. But your real advantage is quieter. You are learning how much more powerful your fire becomes when you do not have to spend it proving that you have fire. Cosmic weather. Wednesday marks the Sun's entrance into Leo. This is your annual reset. The Sun is your ruler, so its return to your sign can feel like energy beginning to gather around you again. You may feel more visible, more expressive, more interested in yourself, your appearance, your goals, your creativity, or what you want the next year of your life to represent. But strength immediately changes the tone. This is not a week for performing confidence. It is a week for inhabiting it. Then Thursday, Mercury stations direct in Cancer. For Leo, the recent retrograde may have stirred private thoughts, unfinished emotional business, memories, dreams, doubts, or conversations that happened mostly inside your own mind. As Mercury changes direction, something internal can begin making more sense. You may finally find language for something you have been processing quietly. Do not rush to explain everything. Some clarity needs to belong to you before it belongs to anyone else. Then Sunday, Saturn stations retrograde in Aries. This activates another fire sign and begins a review involving belief, direction, education, travel, philosophy, or the larger future you imagine for yourself. You may have been pursuing a destination because it once represented growth. Now Saturn asks whether it still does. And then comes Monday. The Sun in Leo faces Pluto while also forming supportive connections with Neptune and Uranus. For you, that can make July 27th a day of intensity, revelation, creativity, disruption, or sudden awareness. Something may challenge the way you see yourself. Strength says, do not roar simply because something roared at you first. Card reveal. Strength is one of the major arcana's most misunderstood cards. The traditional image shows a woman beside a lion. She is not wrestling the animal. She is not defeating it. She does not need a weapon. Her power comes from relationship with the lion, not domination over it. And Leo, you know that lion. It represents instinct, desire, pride, anger, passion, creativity. Sexuality. Courage. The raw life force that wants to move immediately when something matters. Strength does not ask you to extinguish any of that. It asks you to become capable of holding it without being controlled by it. That distinction matters this week. Your emotions may be strong. Your desire to act may be strong. Your need to express yourself may be strong. Your attraction to someone or something may be strong. Good. The card does not say become smaller. It says become conscious of what your strength is serving. Because a lion running in every direction is powerful. But a lion that knows where it is going is formidable. Card meaning. Strength represents courage, patience, self-command, compassion, resilience, confidence, and the integration of instinct with awareness. For Leo, this can be a profound mirror. You are often associated with visibility and confidence, but real confidence is not constant certainty. Sometimes confidence is the willingness to remain present when you feel uncertain. Sometimes courage is saying, I do not know yet. Sometimes strength is refusing to answer an insult. Sometimes it is asking for help. Sometimes it is leaving. Sometimes it is staying long enough to have the difficult conversation. This week, pay attention to moments when your pride wants to make a decision before your wisdom has had time to speak. That does not mean pride is your enemy. Pride can tell you where dignity matters. But wounded pride and self-respect are not the same thing. One reacts. The other chooses. With the sun returning to Leo, you are entering a period of renewed personal energy. Strength asks you to decide how you want to use it. Areas of life. Love. In love, strength brings magnetism, but it also asks for emotional maturity. If you are partnered, there may be a moment this week when being right is less important than understanding what is actually happening between you. If tension appears, avoid escalating simply because neither person wants to be the first to soften. Softening is not surrender. It may be the strongest move available. Passion can also increase as Leo season begins. Use that warmth to reconnect rather than to test whether the other person still wants you. If you are single, your presence may be especially noticeable this week. But strength asks you not to chase validation. Someone being attracted to you does not automatically mean they deserve access to you. Let attention be information, not proof of your worth. Work. Professionally, visibility can increase. You may be asked to lead, present, decide, create, or take responsibility for something that puts your abilities on display. Take the opportunity seriously without turning it into a referendum on your entire value. You do not need one project to prove everything. Monday's intense solar activity can reveal a power dynamic or unexpected development. If someone challenges your authority, idea, or position, resist the temptation to react immediately. Ask whether the challenge contains useful information. Your strongest move may be adaptation rather than confrontation. Money. Financially, strength favors restraint without deprivation. You may feel more generous or inclined toward purchases that express identity as your season begins. There is nothing inherently wrong with enjoying what you earn. Just make sure the purchase is for you rather than for the reaction you hope it produces. If a financial concern has been creating anxiety, approach it directly. Courage with money often looks very ordinary. Opening the statement. Checking the balance. Making the call. Setting the limit. The situation becomes easier to lead once you stop avoiding it. Health and energy. Your physical energy may increase as the sun enters Leo, but do not confuse renewed motivation with unlimited capacity. Strength is deeply connected to the body. It favors consistency, recovery, and learning the difference between productive effort and punishment. Move because your body deserves movement. Rest because your body deserves recovery. If emotions run high, physical activity may help move that energy rather than letting it become mental pressure. Your week day by day. Wednesday, July 22nd. The sun enters Leo. Your season begins. Instead of immediately setting 10 goals, choose one word for the version of yourself you want to embody during the coming solar year. Not achieve. Embody. Let that word become your compass. Thursday, July 23rd. Mercury stations direct. Something private may begin making sense. You could recognize why a recent situation affected you more deeply than expected. You do not need to announce the realization. Let understanding settle before deciding what to do with it. Friday, July 24th. Communication becomes warmer. This can be a good day for affection, creativity, reconciliation, or simply expressing something you appreciate. Say the compliment. Send the message. Create something. Strength is not only the ability to survive difficulty. It is also the ability to remain open to joy. Saturday, July 25th. Listen beneath the obvious. Your imagination and intuition may be unusually useful if you give them room. Do something that reconnects you with creativity without requiring an audience. Make something nobody has to see. Remember what expression feels like before performance enters the room. Sunday, July 26th. Saturn stations retrograde in Aries. A long-term plan, belief, educational goal, journey, or vision of your future may need review. Changing your route does not mean you failed to reach the destination. Sometimes maturity means admitting that you want a different destination now. Monday, July 27th. This may be the week's defining day. The Sun in your sign interacts with Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. Something can feel intense, revealing, unexpected, or unusually charged. Power struggles are possible. So are breakthroughs. Do not make every challenge personal. If something unexpected changes your direction, give yourself enough time to see whether the disruption is actually an opening. Your strength today is response, not reaction. Tuesday, July 28th. Return to your center. Ask yourself, where did I show strength this week without needing anyone else to recognize it? That answer matters more than applause. Let the week close with confidence that belongs to you. Journal prompts. First, Where in my life am I performing competence instead of actually feeling secure? Second, what situation repeatedly activates my pride, and what might self-respect choose differently? Third, if I knew my worth could not increase or decrease based on another person's reaction, what would I do next? Weekly guidance. Your assignment this week is called the Lion Test. Choose one situation that reliably provokes you. A person. A comment. A delay. A criticism. A fear. A comparison. A situation where you feel overlooked. Write down your usual reaction. Maybe you defend yourself immediately. Maybe you become louder. Maybe you withdraw. Maybe you overwork. Maybe you try to prove something. Maybe you pretend not to care. Then ask, what is the lion protecting? Respect? Belonging? Recognition? Control? Safety? Love? Once you identify that need, choose one response that protects it without letting the reaction control you. If you need respect, set a boundary. If you need clarity, ask a question. If you need recognition, acknowledge your own work before demanding that someone else do it. If you need safety, step away. If you need love, say what you actually feel. That is strength. Not silencing the lion. Understanding why it roars. The more clearly you understand your instinct, the less likely you are to become its prisoner. Closing. Leo, your season begins with one of the most powerful cards you could receive. Strength. The sun returning to your sign brings your fire forward again. Mercury turning direct helps private confusion begin to clear. Saturn turning retrograde asks whether the future you are pursuing still reflects the person you are becoming. And Monday's intense solar energy may show you exactly where your power has been reactive and where it has become conscious. You do not need to become less passionate. You do not need to become less visible. You do not need to apologize for wanting to create, lead, love, celebrate, or be recognized. But this week asks you to remember. The loudest person is not automatically the strongest. The person who wins the argument is not automatically secure. And the person who receives applause is not automatically confident. Strength is knowing what you carry before anyone confirms it. It is holding your fire without extinguishing it. It is choosing when to roar. And knowing when you do not need to. Your affirmation for this week is: my strength does not depend on being seen. I trust my fire, lead my instincts with wisdom, and allow my confidence to come from who I am rather than how others respond. Carry that with you through July 28th. Subscribe so your next weekly reading is waiting for you. Trust the timing. The stars have spoken.